Why don't we talk about the Richard Hart marketing strategy? But yeah, what's everyone's thoughts? What does everyone think the device is?
I think it's a smart wallet. I think it's a hard wallet. You know, Richard said he's going to make the world's best wallet. He never said if it's going to be a hard wallet or a software wallet, right? So that's my 2 cents. I could be wrong, but
It's not a smart wallet because the batteries required for hardware wallets are lithium batteries, not watch batteries, which are not rechargeable. So it's not a wallet. That would be way too expensive, and it's because of the battery that is being sent out with this. It's not possible that it's a wallet.
Yeah, it could be a one of those electron. It's not electronic, but it's got the little electronic info thing in it. Postcard, like he was talking about, and you just throw a QR code on there that links you to the new Pulsechain wallet, and bam, there you go. You don't need a hardware wallet.
Yeah, definitely not going to be a hardware wallet. But the fact that he updated the websites, hex.com, and all this stuff with relevant, up to date stuff, 100%, there's going to be like links of some sort on, either electronic screen or just on the postcard itself, along with some kind of electronic screen. But yeah, definitely not a hardware wallet. You know what kind of like safety you have to have built into it, blah blah blah, R&D and stuff. He's not going to do any of that. It's something more simple, but it's probably gonna be effective because it's like all this information like in bulletin point or something like
I don't
that.
think it will be effective.
What if it was a flash drive with malware and it just drains everyone MetaMask and Rabbit wallets, and then we use it to pump Pulsechain?
See,
That'd be
it
kind
is
of sick, though.
I
see that
I
that is effective.
I don't. I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt until I know what it is. But
Imagine it's Richard's first sex tape.
yeah, I don't think it's gonna be that effective personally. But again, I don't want to say anything until I actually see what it is that's being mailed out. From what I heard on AJ Space last night, there's gonna be 100 million of these things.
100 million. Oh, they're keychains.
What was it
Sex
that is
toys.
mailed out for Hex? What was the Hex thing that was mailed out? Was it just a postcard?
I thought it was postcards. Yeah.
Yeah. Does anyone know how effective you? What was the conversion rate on that? I
Well, I
don't
mean,
think
he got
anyone knows.
Jack Levin to buy Hex.
So basically, postcards for every basically it's a 30% return on investment.
Well, that's the 30% conversion. That's really high.
Where are
That's
you getting
typically how
that
they're
figure
done.
from? Where are you getting that figure?
That's just on online and whatnot.
But no, I mean, Richard did get Jack
I
Levin
love
to buy, so the postcard was successful in that aspect.
30% return on investment. That's generic postcards. So the purpose of the little battery is that you can't just throw those things away. And if there's some type of kind of a raised look or feel typically on a postcard, that return on investment goes up maybe 20%. So that's kind of the purpose of marketing. So when people get these things and they feel it, and maybe either the battery screwed in, or if it's just secured in some way, shape, or form, people are less likely to just throw it away and spend a little more time on it.
Yeah, pretty much. I know that people love to hate on direct mail, but statistically speaking, it is one of the best ways actually to get people to
And
respond.
the thing with this too is that all this stuff is coming from China, so he most likely got an insane deal. My speculation on it is that it's some type of a hologram or some type of a small LCD screen or something that kind of either gives a tiny breakdown or a QR code or whatever explaining what Pulsechain is, or whatever, it's some type of a hype fest. But either way, people are going to be a little more inclined to spend more time on it than just throw it away because it's aesthetically pleasing.
So the messaging has to be on point to get those conversions. I agree with everything you're saying when it comes to throwing it away. But yeah, the messaging has got to be, and the target audience as well. I'm sure he's got some kind of plan on who he wants to target. Like I've said that getting those data dumps from the Coinbase hack, the Ledger hack, would be really good to instead of just sending it to just random demographics.
My thought is that this is all going to be planned, accordingly. And when Ethereum starts to move up, these postcards are going to be, worldwide spread. I mean, we're trying. The whole point of it last night too was that they're trying to figure out, logistics about how to get these on the cheapest route possible. But with that being said, you know, people are going to be getting these postcards. They're going to be looking into it. Maybe they can scan something. Maybe there's a video attached to it. And at the same time, I guess my speculation would be that RH is going to start to either use the reserve funds to slowly buy a little bit of the chart up, so that, you know, big numbers speak huge, you know, you know, small numbers are on, you know, not aesthetically pleasing. But when people start seeing green and people start getting these postcards, the word of mouth and the momentum is going to start to pick up. You know, that would be my master plan, at least. You know,
Yeah, valid point.
you know, he's not doing this for nothing, guys. I mean, I mean, he's not just bullshit us and sending out some stupid. And you know, I guess one of my things that I would focus on in this and just Pulsechain in general is that it's not easy to do what this guy is doing. Most people get angry because the chart is red and whatnot, but the reality is you shake out the weak hands. We all know this. Funds haven't been touched. We can see the ETH funds are there. We have the third largest holdings in ETH funds. The guy's a master planner, and this is all a part of it. And you know, now he's doing this marketing, you know, projection that's about to happen, and maybe it's 100 million, maybe it's a couple million postcards, whatever it is, but there's a plan. You know, this shit is gonna get crazy. And if you say, if you're saying that, you know, he's a failure and he's, you know, he's like failing everyone, I'm like, no, dude, this takes time, and watch what happens. He's a failure, that's what everyone says, but watch what happens. Everyone, or most people that stay in this, are going to make crazy money for doing absolutely nothing. Do you find that to be okay? Honestly, you should feel blessed.
Yeah, good point.
You know, people saying Richard's stupid, Richard's down, Richard's blah blah blah. You know, they're so afraid of that guy that the Ethereum Foundation literally had to come out and attack Hex by increasing the right to disk function. Everybody gatekeeps the ecosystem. They gatekept Hex. They're scared to death of him. So the people that are coming on here and talking bad, I mean, they have no understanding what's going on.
I'm sitting here laughing at it all and scooping up cheap coins when this guy who has been dumping the chain down keeps dumping. We should segue to that actually, because there's for those who don't know, there's been a whale who has been exiting. So far, he's sold $4 million in the last week, maybe a little bit over a week. PLSX, and he just sent another $2 million over to the sell wallet of PLSX to sell. So I'm assuming another probably month of sell pressure from this guy, and another load of capitulations and crash outs and haters, and a nice bottom's going to form for sure.
Very profitable time for those who knows how to act.
Correct. Yeah, there's been people acting on the Ethereum side in LP pools, just creaming it, absolutely creaming the fees. We've been watching certain wallets adding LP, adding a range, and as the guy is selling, just raping fees and then pulling liquidity. So there's a lot of smart people that take these opportunities to make money.
At the end of the day, like really think about like what could be accomplished here on Pulsechain by not even looking at the chart right now, and just realize the the last time or back in 2024, January 8th to March 8th, ETH went up 2.5 x. Pulsechain went up about 4.5 to 5.2x, with 15x the amount of liquidity that we actually have right now. So when you actually do the ratios and just do simple math, like now we have 15x less the amount of liquidity that we did back when Ethereum actually did that run up. And just like the people that are like have positive energy, like imagine what you're going to get in 6 months of time, 8 months of time. And just, it's like a yin yang. You know, it's like if you really believe in the ecosystem, be positive.
I just done some research, and I asked ChatGPT, and I copied and pasted Richard Hart's tweet, and I said for crypto advertisement, what could be with these certain requirements, right? With the weight, the literally everything. And this is what it come up with: an NFC enabled cold wallet card or a crypto card wallet, right? It come up with a crypto price ticker keychain or a badge with a small LCD screen that shows live or simulated prices of the cryptocurrency. Seed phrase vault reminder device. I don't know what that is, but yeah. A crypto wallet authenticator, like a 2FA slash NFC device clone, and a mini blockchain game toy. That's what ChatGPT come up with, the exact requirements that Richard Hart put in regards to weight, size, and with the CR2025 batteries.
So one thing I would note on that is Richard Hart is not stupid, and he's also kind of cheap, and he knows the user acquisition cost of a lot of different companies. He's not going to spend $100 to $140 per hardware wallet. I would imagine he's going to try to spend no more than $25 per person for user acquisition.
Way less than that.
Yeah, 100%. But
Yeah.
a hardware wallet where it's like 50 to 150 bucks is way too expensive.
Well, I was listening briefly to the AJ Space stream last night. I was a bit busy, so I couldn't listen to it all. But from what she said, there's 100 million packages. If that is, then we're talking like a matter of cent per package that he's spending.
100%, yeah. It's going to be something where he was able to get a deal for a giant bulk order, and he's going to play it pretty strategically. I wouldn't say your expectations super high, because I would hate for people to think it's going to be something crazy and then for people to be disappointed. It's going to be something strategic for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
Could you imagine, like, everyone
That's
just
cool,
gets
yeah.
this thing and it just tells you the price going up every day, 20%, 20%, 20%?
Exactly. That
You
would
gotta
be,
think that is
yeah.
marketing genius, like, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would say that would be a good idea, as long as it's relatively cheap and he was able to get a good price on it, because he could try to pump the hell out of it as soon as they start delivering, and all you're seeing is just like, hypothetically, if you had $100 in it, how much would it be today? And they just keep seeing that week after week. It would, yeah, that'd be a good idea.
What if
Bro,
they
you just
see
see
week after week it's just like minus 5%, minus 5%, minus 5%?
No, but this is the thing.
He'll make sure that the batteries die within like 6 months, so they don't see the other side of the price action. So I mean, that's a question. Why would like these hyper rich individuals be selling right now when at least every other person within the community is pretty much guaranteed that Richard is trying to do something? Like, why would they try to sell right now when
Bro,
Richard has
there's other
stated
I-
people
multiple times?
selling as well, bro.
Can I
Yeah,
It's
step
not
in,
just
bro?
him.
Oh, for sure.
When you say Pulsechain is a failure and Richard Hart needs to take accountability and all that kind of stuff, would it be a wise decision to pump the ecosystem now before all those things come into fruition with the altcoin season, Ethereum going to 10,000 or whatever price it's going to go to, Bitcoin going to higher prices? Would that be smart to do that and pump the whole ecosystem now, or wait until being a part of the market and all that kind of stuff?
No, I'm a firm believer that Richard Hart is gonna wait till ETH goes to $10,000. Then he's gonna put that money into Pulsechain. I've heard him say it before. I'm a firm believer that that will happen. I think he's gonna do that.
Perfect. Next thing.
But
Next. Hold on. Let me ask you. Okay, here. Go ahead. No, you say what you're gonna say. I have another question after that.
I was just gonna say, but what if he doesn't do that? What if GRC is right?
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. Here's the next question about JRC. Has he been gone for about 2 years? Right.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. The individuals that been working their ass off for the beginning of Pulsechain, would you think you would want to listen to what they say, or listen to a person that has been a ghost for the ecosystem and the community? Which person would you rather listen to?
I'm rolling with Richard Hart and you guys, everyone in here. I'm on Team Richard.
All right, I love it. Perfect. And then I forgot the question I was going to ask you.
I just want Richard Hart to not. I don't like the idea of everyone work for their bags. No, you're the leader. Leaders have to work. Leaders have to work the hardest. I don't care if him and 20 devs made Pulsechain. That's just the beginning.
Okay, that's cool.
Now,
Didn't he beat the SEC? Didn't he have to spend a lot of shitload of money to beat the SEC with the best lawyers in the institution when it comes to like the world?
I'm wrong when you say it like that. I'm completely wrong. Like, he has a lot on his plate. I agree with you.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then when it comes to like streaming and all that kind of stuff, maybe he has a game plan with doing all those actions, and maybe like you really need to actually like shake out the individuals that do not want to be a part of the community in the future. Yes or no?
Yes, 100%. You're right.
Okay, so with that same kind of framework and like everything, like when it comes to like the like building out the community of PGC, and like when it comes to like X protocol and X the token, like I've learned from Richard Hart very, very well. And a lot of things that like people like cry about and whine about, I feel that emotion that they're trying to like give out. But when you really think about it, it's like when back in January, X went up to about a $10.5 million market cap with zero marketing, just like by me talking on my streams and all that kind of stuff. And then Pulsechain, Pulsex, PHEX, EHEX all went down about 80%. So like for me, thinking like out loud, like would I rather have the people that do not want to be a part of the future sell at these lows? So like when or like whatever kind of game plan that he has for 6 months or a year or 2 years or 5 years or 10 years, it's like would you rather have the individuals that want to like believe in a whatever kind of reality that you think he's going to pump your backs? Like with me, I don't like preaching all those things that he's going to pump our ecosystem and all that kind of stuff, because if you really think about it, it's like the big Pulsex and Pulse seller right now. It's like, wouldn't you rather have those individuals out of the ecosystem, out of how much they actually acquired from like SAC or whenever they bought, and selling at these lows? Because you have to think about it, you're going to have to anticipate that they're going to be selling all those tokens at some kind of certain price. But if you can get the weak hands, get the losers, get the disbelievers in what you're trying to accomplish, not just for yourself, you know, and of course, like when Pulse and PulseX, it wasn't an IPO; it was a sacrifice. There's going to be no expectations from the work of others, and then when you really think about it, like for whatever I like myself, I built out for X protocol or whatever for PDC, UFO, all those things. It's like there's no expectations because like the framework that I have in my mind, and it's like I don't have emotion when it comes to like my portfolio. I don't have emotion when it comes to people hating on me or disliking me or giving me death threats. Like the things that I like, the possibilities and goals that Richard Hart has is probably planned out for many, many years to come. And of course, I'm going to be a little bit optimistic because I have that same kind of like mindset same kind of mindset because of his teachings, because of his streams.
Richard could come back all guns blazing, but I think it's his moral responsibility in order to get everyone out the shit. And I don't care, what he says about don't have expectations. I think it's actually his moral duty to inject those SAC funds, especially for the smaller guys, to allow them to exit. I don't think he should rely on the ecosystem, or mass adoption. I think he owes it to everyone who believed in him and put their money where their mouth was to put that SAC fund back in so that, anyone who does want to exit. And also, I think it would kickstart. There is enough money. He's got more money than he can ever spend or a human being could ever spend in their life. So for him not to put that back and selfishly sit on all the money that was sent to him by people who believed, whether you call it free speech or his project or whatever, I would be very disappointed for one if he didn't use those SAC funds to bring it back into the ecosystem to save the smaller guys who have really been punished by his tokenomics, which rewarded the larger.
No, but I can appreciate that, and thanks for sharing, mate. I just wonder how this like regardless of what he does, how does it correspond to the nature of the PLS like infinite supply, like just like Ethereum, and how that can facilitate infinite extraction at the whale level. That doesn't really take, like, it doesn't matter what he does with his sac funds in that regard, right? Like we could fast forward 15 years from now and the sac funds have been deployed and everyone's done, that part of the story is out of the picture, but we still have the same issue that continues from those original days of the whales.
Yeah, but it's not infinite because it's proportional to the validators earning the rewards, which is the inflation. And that, I can't remember which the burn mechanism is for Pulse. It's not as much as Pulsex, but of course Pulsex is deflationary because the only Pulsex that will ever exist is the Pulsex that was rewarded to the SAC class. So that will always go down now because obviously the buy and burn, it's deflationary. So, if you've hedged between Pulse and Pulsex, basically what you're doing is you're believing that there's going to be, growth in the system. So hopefully the growth and mass adoption or people coming into the system buying Pulse and using Pulse, and there is a deflation. As I said, I can't remember what the mechanism is, but there is a deflationary aspect to Pulse as well. But if you hedge if you do a 50-50 split between Pulsex Pulse, then you're kind of protected by that inflation because Pulse X is deflationary. And, that if it becomes very successful, the buy and burn gets greater. And I think we've already burnt, about 7% of the total supply. And that's what, within 2 years. So as time goes on, Pulsex does actually become more valuable just in terms of the amount that you hold. You end up holding a greater amount.
Yeah, this is a large part why we chose PLSX as the reward token for ETH, because as we understood, it was a deflationary token, native token. So I think we're Indican is somewhat safe in that regard, in the choice of what token it prints for holders. The question was around the whales from the sacrifice phase for Pulsechain doing infinite extraction. Often the story goes that, like, okay, we're trying to shake out the weak hands and get rid of the soft cocks out of Pulsechain and have just got bags for days that they can just extract upon. Does that make sense?
Similar problem to like what Hex has, eHex has, which is the first movers and the amount of supply those people manage to rake in and the adoption amplifier. They will have supply forever, right? So you're just gonna have to outwork those people basically. But it's nothing exclusive to Pulsechain, right? This happens everywhere, so it's not the end of the world or anything.
No, of course it's not the end of the world, and it does happen on every other chain. The question is, like, how does that look for Indicate, right? We're like bringing a product to market here, and we need to be the universal onboarding mechanism for newcomers via our film production. So I'm trying to weigh up the risks and benefits in executing such a project on Pulsechain, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So if creating a project on Pulsechain is the riskier play, it also is the highest upside, right? It's like the risk reward ratio. That's part of the reason why you get some of those. By the way, that spaces you were on earlier when I gave you a shout out, that crypto paradise people, they're quite big on Ethereum, right? They got over 100,000 followers. That's probably the biggest group of people on Pulsechain right now that just merged in and started building their own thing and doing their own collaborations. So they're just making it work regardless of how the price of the cores are doing. They just keep putting the work and their charts pump. So it works. The proof is in the pudding there.
Right on. Okay. No, that makes sense. Have you been satisfied personally with the how Pulsechain's been going so far, mate?
If I wasn't actively experimenting every day for the past 3 years, I would probably be as bored as everybody else on complaining on Twitter, right? But I just made sure that regardless of the direction the chart was gonna go, that I was gonna be stacking up and having at least that same value that I woke up with when I go to sleep, right? So I don't like to just hold around my stuff and expect somebody to pump or to create wealth for me. I go after it, right? Whether it's Pulsechain or not. You know, I just have a special appreciation for Pulsechain because I got to participate in the whole Hex adoption amplifier. So I know exactly what you guys are talking about, right? I made money I wasn't supposed to have, right? So that can be a good thing if it's for a lot of people just that were looking for a second chance in crypto or maybe in life, but it also can go the other way and just you have
Nice.
a select
Okay.
few group of people that just hold the entire thing, and then it could hinder the progress in the future.
Right on. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you're in a unique position there because we were. This is what we were exactly talking about just prior to you joining. I came to the understanding that okay, if there were people there at the sacrifice phase for Pulsechain, that $1 billion moment, and they are the ones that are, well, as the story goes, making a sort of slow extraction that is kind of penalizing to an extent the growth of the value of the native token, or and by extension the ecosystem itself. What does it take to convince one of those whales or whales to not necessarily stop extracting, but understand that they can grow their bags further by investing in quality projects that are being developed on the chain?